My wife just told me she's in love with her boss. I'm sitting here calculating compound interest on our joint savings while she packs a bag for another business conference. Funny thing about being a risk analyst, you get really good at spotting patterns. And Victoria's been following the same playbook as every other cheating spouse for 6 months. "Jake, you're being dramatic," she says, folding another designer dress I apparently paid for. "Richard and I have a connection you wouldn't understand." Right. A connection that costs us $3,000 a month in client dinners at restaurants that don't serve business lunches. A connection that requires weekend trips to Martha's Vineyard for property consultations. A connection that somehow justifies charging couples massage appointments to our joint credit card. "I'm sure Catherine Ashford would love to hear about your connection," I say, not looking up from my laptop screen. Victoria freezes. Her face goes pale under that $40 foundation. "What did you say?" "Richard's wife. Catherine. You know, the family court judge who sits on the state ethics committee?" I pull up the financial records I've been tracking. Interesting woman, former federal prosecutor, zero tolerance for corruption. "You don't know anything, Jake. Richard said you were just a boring number cruncher who used to track terrorist financing for military intelligence, who currently analyzes money laundering schemes for Blackstone Capital, who has access to financial databases that would make your boyfriend very uncomfortable." I turn the laptop toward her. "Want to see the shell company he created to funnel personal expenses? Paradise Holdings, LLC. Very creative." Victoria's hands are shaking now. Good. She should be scared. My phone buzzes with a text from Richard A. At 11:47 p.m. "Can't wait to see you tomorrow, baby. Booked us the penthouse suite." I hold up the phone. He's been sending these for months, to my wife, using company credit cards I traced in about 20 minutes. "Jake, listen." "No, you listen. While you've been playing house with a married man who embezzles from client escrow accounts, I've been building a case. $200,000 in fraudulent expenses. That's federal time, Victoria." She tries to salvage this, switching to manipulation mode. "We can work this out. I made a mistake, but we," I laugh. "There is no we. There's you, facing accessory charges for helping create fake invoices. There's Richard, facing embezzlement and wire fraud charges. And there's me, with enough evidence to put you both away for 5 years. I pick up my phone and dial. "Hi, this is Jake Morrison. I need to report a stolen company vehicle." "Yes, the Mercedes Victoria's been using. License plate ... Victoria grabs for the phone, but I'm already walking toward the front door. Military training doesn't leave you, even after 8 years of analyzing spreadsheets. "Jake, please." "You can't do this." "I can. I will. And I'm just getting started. Meeting the wife of your wife's lover is awkward. Meeting the wife who happens to be a sitting judge with connections to the DA's office, that's strategic." Catherine Ashford sits across from me at a downtown coffee shop, looking every inch the federal prosecutor she used to be. Tailored suit, silver hair pulled back severely, eyes that have seen too many criminals try to lie their way out of consequences. "Mr. Morrison," she says, sliding a manila envelope across the table. "I believe our spouses have been careless. Inside are surveillance photos. Victoria and Richard at the Ritz. Victoria and Richard boarding his company's private jet. Victoria and Richard at his Hamptons house, the one that's supposed to be empty while Catherine visits her sister in California." "You hired a private investigator," I say. "I hired the best private investigator. Former FBI. Catherine's smile is colder than a forensic accountant's heart. "Richard thinks I'm naive. 18 years of marriage to a man who believes his family money makes him untouchable." I pull out my own evidence. Bank records, credit card statements, the Paradise Holdings documentation. "Your husband has been stealing from client accounts to finance this affair. Victoria helped him by creating fake marketing invoices. Catherine examines my work with professional appreciation. Very thorough. I see your military intelligence background serves you well. 3 tours, analyzing terrorist financing. This is actually simpler. Richard's not nearly as careful as Al-Qaeda. We spend an hour comparing notes. Richard's pattern of financial crime goes back years. Other affairs with junior employees. Hostile work environment complaints swept under the rug by his family's law firm. Private school tuition for his kids paid from company funds while he claims poverty during their divorce mediation. He underestimated both of us, Catherine says. He thinks you're just a boring analyst, and I'm just a housewife playing judge. Are you going to file for divorce? I'm going to destroy him. Her voice carries the authority of someone who's sentenced white-collar criminals to federal prison. But first, we ensure he can never hurt anyone else. My phone rings. Unknown number. Jake Morrison? This is Agent Patricia Hendricks, FBI Financial Crimes Division. I understand you have information about potential embezzlement at Ashford Properties. Catherine smiles. I may have made a few calls. 30 minutes later, Agent Hendricks sits with us, reviewing evidence. She's impressed by the thoroughness of my financial analysis and Catherine's legal documentation. This is enough for search warrants, Hendricks says. We'll hit their offices simultaneously tomorrow morning. What about Victoria? I ask. If she cooperated in creating fraudulent documents, she's looking at conspiracy charges, accessory to embezzlement at minimum. Catherine checks her watch. Richard should be arriving at his office about now. I wonder how he'll explain federal agents searching his files. My phone buzzes with a text from Victoria. Jake, please call me. Richard says we can work this out. I show the message to Catherine and Agent Hendricks. They're panicking, Hendricks observes. That's when they make mistakes. They already made their mistakes, I say. We're just cataloging them now. Catherine stands, adjusting her suit jacket. Mr. Morrison, it's been a pleasure working with someone who appreciates the importance of consequences. As she walks away, I realize Victoria has no idea what's coming. Neither does Richard. They've been playing games while Catherine and I have been building a case. My phone rings again. This time it's Victoria, crying. I let it go to voicemail. Watching your cheating wife get arrested for embezzlement should feel satisfying. Instead, I'm thinking about the next phase. Because rich people don't stay down unless you make sure they can't get back up. Agent Hendricks calls me at 6 a.m. We have them both in custody. Richard tried to shred documents, but our forensic accountants recovered everything. Victoria cooperated immediately, gave us passwords to all the fake accounts. Of course she did. Richard's family is already mobilizing their legal team. Expect contact from their representatives. She's right. By noon, I'm sitting across from Harrison Ashford III, Richard's uncle and head of the family's legal empire. Designer suit, old money confidence, the kind of man who's never been told no by anyone who wasn't holding a federal warrant. Mr. Morrison, he says, sliding a cashier's check across the table. We're prepared to offer you $2 million to relocate. Perhaps Europe? I hear Prague is lovely this time of year. $2 million. More money than I'll make in 10 years at Blackstone. Enough to disappear, start over, forget about Victoria and Richard and all of this mess. I pick up the check, examine it, then slide it back. Mr. Ashford, I'm going to record this conversation now. I place my phone on the table, hit record. Please continue explaining how you'd like to bribe a federal witness. His face goes white. That's not, I'm simply offering, you're attempting to obstruct justice. That's a felony. I lean back in my chair. Your nephew stole $200,000 from client accounts. My wife helped him. They're both going to federal prison. Your attempt to interfere with that process is now evidence in a new case. Harrison stands abruptly. You don't understand the power of this family. I understand that your family's reputation is about to become front-page news, embezzlement, bribery, corruption. I stop the recording. Agent Hendricks will enjoy listening to this. That evening, Richard makes bail through his family's connections. By 9 p.m., he's at my apartment building with two men who look like they bench press Buicks for fun. I watch them through my building's security cameras. Richard gestures angrily while his hired muscle nods along. They're planning something stupid. I'm ready. When they reach my floor, I'm waiting in the stairwell. Years of military training kicked in the moment I saw them on camera. They expect to find a frightened analyst. Instead, they find someone who survived 3 combat tours. Jake Morrison? The bigger one speaks. Mr. Ashford wants to have a conversation. Tell Mr. Ashford he can schedule a meeting through his federal public defender. Richard steps forward. You think you're smart, Morrison? My family has been destroying people like you for generations. People like me? You mean people with evidence? People with FBI contacts? People who don't steal from clients to pay for affairs? The big man reaches inside his jacket. Bad choice. I spent years disarming insurgents who were better armed and better trained. He's unconscious before his hand clears his belt. The second man gets smart and runs. Richard tries to follow, but I block the stairs. Your bribery attempt this morning is now evidence. Your intimidation attempt tonight is assault. Your family's reputation is finished. I step closer. And Victoria's going to testify against you to reduce her sentence. She wouldn't. She already has. Federal prosecutors don't offer cooperation deals unless they're confident in the testimony. Richard's face crumbles. The reality finally hits him. His money can't fix this. His family can't fix this. The consequences are real and irreversible. Building security arrives, drawn by the camera system I helped design. They find Richard standing over his unconscious associate, everything recorded in high definition. Call the police, I tell them. Mr. Ashford was just leaving. As they escort Richard away, he turns back. This isn't over, Morrison. Yes, it is. You just don't know it yet. My wife wants to work things out now that her affair partner is headed to federal prison. The audacity is almost admirable. Almost. Victoria sits in the conference room at my lawyer's office, wearing an orange jumpsuit that clashes with her complexion. House arrest pending sentencing means she gets supervised visits for divorce proceedings. The ankle monitor really completes her outfit. Jake, please. I know I made mistakes, but we can get past this. Her voice carries the desperate edge of someone watching their entire world collapse. Richard manipulated me. I was vulnerable after my mother died. Her mother died 3 years ago. The affair started 6 months ago. But sure, grief is a time-traveling emotion now. Victoria, you helped embezzle $200,000 from client accounts. You created fake invoices. You used our joint credit cards to finance your boyfriend's lifestyle. I slide divorce papers across the table. The only thing we're working out is how quickly you can sign these. She tries tears next. I lost everything, Jake. My job, my friends, my reputation. Isn't that enough punishment? You lost those things because you committed crimes. Actions have consequences. Novel concept. I know. My lawyer, a sharp woman named Patricia Daniels, clears her throat. Mrs. Morrison, your cooperation with federal investigators might reduce your sentence, but it doesn't change the civil consequences. No alimony, no property settlement, no shared assets. That's not fair. Fair? I laugh. You want to talk about fair? Fair would be if Richard's family connections hadn't gotten him minimum security prison. Fair would be if you faced the same federal charges as your boyfriend. Fair would be if you'd considered consequences before destroying our marriage. Victoria switches tactics again. Classic manipulation playbook. I never meant for any of this to happen. If you just give me another chance. I gave you 8 years of chances. I gave you a joint bank account you drained for spa weekends. I gave you a credit card you used to buy lingerie for another man. I lean forward. I even gave you the benefit of the doubt when the charges on our card started looking suspicious. That was my mistake. She realizes the tears aren't working. You're enjoying this. You're getting some sick satisfaction from watching me suffer. I'm getting satisfaction from watching justice work. There's a difference. Patricia slides additional paperwork toward Victoria. These are the asset disclosures. Mr. Morrison retained ownership of all properties acquired before marriage, plus all investment accounts. The joint checking account was frozen due to fraudulent activity. Victoria's face goes pale. How am I supposed to live? The same way every other convicted felon lives. Carefully. I stand to leave. Sign the papers, Victoria. It's over. Jake, wait. Her voice breaks completely now. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt you. I stop at the door. You're not sorry you hurt me. You're sorry you got caught. You're sorry your boyfriend's in federal prison. You're sorry you lost your comfortable lifestyle. I turn back to face her. But you're not sorry you betrayed 8 years of marriage for a middle-aged real estate developer with a midlife crisis. Victoria tries one more desperate play. What about Catherine? She got what she wanted. Richard's in prison. She kept their assets. Why do I have to lose everything? Because Catherine didn't commit crimes. Catherine didn't betray her marriage vows. Catherine didn't help embezzle client funds. I shrug. Also, Catherine's a sitting judge with connections throughout the legal system. You're unemployed with a federal conviction. The divorce is finalized within an hour. Victoria signs everything because she has no choice. No assets, no income, no prospects. Her signature is shaky, defeated. As we leave the building, Patricia mentions something interesting. Ashford Properties offered you Richard's position. The partners want to distance themselves from the scandal. Managing partner at the firm that fired my ex-wife's boyfriend for embezzlement? There's poetry in that, Victoria overhears as she's escorted to the transport van. Her face shows the final realization. I'm not just moving on from our marriage, I'm inheriting the life she thought she was trading up for. The van drives away, taking Victoria back to house arrest and an uncertain future. I watch it disappear around the corner, then check my phone for messages from my new employer. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even. It's getting everything they thought they deserved. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. I prefer mine served with a side of financial ruin and a garnish of public humiliation. The call comes at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday. Agent Hendricks sounds tired but urgent. Morrison, we have a problem. Richard Ashford escaped during prison transport. Escaped how? Vehicle accident, probably staged. 2 guards injured, Richard vanished. We think he had help from family connections. I'm already getting dressed. Where would he go? That's why I'm calling. He blames you for everything. His family cut him off after the bribery attempt became public. His wife divorced him and kept everything. You're the only target left. Through my apartment window, I see a black sedan parked across the street. It wasn't there when I went to bed. He's already here, I say. Stay put. We're sending units. The building's power goes out. Emergency lighting flickers on, casting everything in an eerie red glow. The sedan's doors open. Richard emerges with 2 new associates, heading for my building's entrance. I grab the go bag I've kept ready since this whole thing started. Old habits from overseas deployments. Always have an exit strategy. The stairwell echoes with footsteps 3 floors below. They're moving fast, but not quietly. Richard's desperation has made him sloppy. I use the building service elevator to reach the parking garage. The security system I helped design becomes my advantage. I know every camera angle, every blind spot, every emergency exit. The garage is dark, filled with shadows and concrete pillars. Perfect for what's coming. Morrison! Richard's voice echoes from the main entrance. I know you're here. This is your fault. My family, my business, my life, you destroyed everything. I key my radio to building security. Lock down all exits except loading Dock 7. Trigger silent alarms for police response. Richard and his men spread out, searching between parked cars. They're armed, but undisciplined. Hired muscle, not trained operators. I circle behind them using maintenance corridors. Richard's paranoia works against him. He's jumping at shadows while I move through areas he doesn't know exist. "You think you're smart, Morrison?" Richard shouts. "Military hero turned accountant? You're nothing. Nobody." Close enough now. I can see his face in the emergency lighting. Haggard, desperate. The look of a man who's lost everything and has nothing left to lose. His first associate rounds a concrete pillar and walks into my ambush. Disarmed and unconscious in seconds. His weapon slides across the garage floor, out of reach. "Tommy," Richard calls. "Tommy, where are you?" The second man moves toward Richard's voice, leaving his back exposed. Another mistake. He joins his partner in unconsciousness. Now it's just Richard and me in the shadows of the parking garage. Somewhere above us, police sirens approach. "Morrison, face me like a man." Richard emerges from behind a car, pistol raised but shaking. "You destroyed my life over some money. Over Victoria. She's not worth this." "This was never about Victoria," I say, stepping into the light. "This was about consequences." Richard spins toward my voice, gun wavering. "Consequences. My whole family disowned me. I lost everything. You embezzled $200,000 from client accounts. You committed fraud. You attempted bribery and witness intimidation." I take another step closer. "You did this to yourself. I was providing for my family. For Victoria, everything I did was for love. You stole from clients to pay for hotel rooms. You used company jets for affairs. You created shell companies to hide personal expenses." Another step. That's not love. That's selfishness. Police tactical units flood the garage from multiple entrances, but Richard doesn't notice. His attention is completely focused on me. "You turned my wife against me. You destroyed my business. Catherine gathered evidence because you cheated on her for years. Your business partners cooperated because you stole from clients." I spread my hands, showing I'm unarmed. "I just documented what you already did." Richard's gun hand trembles. Behind him, tactical officers take position. He's surrounded, but too consumed with rage to realize it. "Drop the weapon!" The tactical commander's voice booms through the garage. Richard spins toward the sound, and that's his final mistake. Multiple officers fire simultaneously. Richard collapses between two cars, his weapon clattering across concrete. Agent Hendricks arrives as paramedics work on Richard. He's alive. Barely. Looks like this is finally over. I watch them load Richard onto a stretcher. Even unconscious, handcuffed to the gurney, he looks diminished. Not the arrogant executive who thought his family connections made him untouchable. "What happens now?" I ask. "Attempted murder charges, armed assault, violation of federal bail conditions. He's looking at 15 to 20 years if he survives." Hendricks closes her notepad. "Your testimony will be crucial, but I think this case is closed." Outside, dawn breaks over the financial district. News vans are already gathering, drawn by reports of a shootout involving a convicted embezzler and federal witness. My phone buzzes with a text from Patricia Daniels. "Ashford Properties Board voted. You're officially managing partner effective immediately." I look up at the building where this all started. Where Victoria worked, where Richard thought he was untouchable, where I analyzed the financial patterns that brought them down. Tomorrow, I'll sit in Richard's former office, running the company he thought he owned. Victoria will wake up in a halfway house facing years of probation and financial ruin. Catherine will return to her courtroom, her reputation enhanced by standing up to corruption. And I'll continue doing what I've always done, analyzing patterns, identifying risks, ensuring consequences follow actions. Justice isn't always swift, but it's thorough when it arrives. The morning news will call it a dramatic conclusion to a financial scandal. They'll focus on the shootout, the arrests, the fall of a prominent business family. They'll miss the real story. Sometimes the quiet analyst in the corner is the most dangerous person in the room. I walk toward my car as crime scene technicians finish their work. Behind me, the building where it all started gleams in the morning sun. Time to get back to work.